If you sat down for a real prehistoric dinner tonight, you would probably be in the emergency room by midnight. We like to think we are the peak of human evolution, but when it comes to eating, we are actually the weakest versions of ourselves to ever exist. Most people imagine the paleo diet as a nice plate of lean grass-fed steak and some fresh organic blueberries. In reality, your ancestors were less like professional athletes and more like biological garbage disposals that could handle things that would kill a modern person. Today we get upset if our milk is one day past the expiration date or if our chicken looks a little bit pink. But for millions of years, the human gut was a high-pressure chemical plant designed to destroy bacteria and squeeze energy out of literal wood. We have traded our biological superpowers for soft textures and sterilized snacks, and it might be making us sicker than we realize. Let's look at what was actually on the menu 100,000 years ago, starting with the stuff that makes us want to gag today. Before humans were the kings of the hunt, we were actually world-class scavengers, which is a nice way of saying we ate leftovers. If a lion killed a zebra and ate the best parts, our ancestors would wait for the lion to leave and then move in for the scraps. This wasn't fresh meat. It had been sitting in the hot African sun for hours or even days, crawling with flies and dangerous bacteria. If you ate a piece of sun-rotted zebra meat right now, you would get salmonella, E. coli, or botulism almost instantly. But ancient humans had stomach acid that was incredibly strong, with a pH level sitting around 1.5. To put that in perspective, that is the same acidity level found in the stomachs of vultures and hyenas. Our stomachs were literally designed to be a graveyard for pathogens, melting away bacteria before they could ever make us sick. As we started to hunt more, we didn't just eat the muscle meat like we do today with our boneless, skinless chicken breasts. We went straight for the nasty bits like the brain, the eyeballs, and the fatty marrow hidden deep inside the long bones. The marrow was basically a high-calorie butter stick that stayed protected from the air, providing the fat needed to grow our huge brains. We also ate things that modern grocery stores would never put on the shelves, like raw insects, crunchy beetles, and fat larvae. Termites were the original protein shakes, providing more grams of protein per ounce than a modern beef patty without any of the processing. If you traveled back in time to a forest in the Pleistocene, you wouldn't find sweet apples or crunchy carrots like the ones we have now. Ancient tubers and roots were incredibly tough, filled with woody fibers and bitter chemicals meant to stop animals from eating them. An average hunter-gatherer consumed over 100 grams of fiber every single day, which is 4 times what the average American gets now. If you tried to eat that much fiber tomorrow, your digestive system would probably shut down or result in an extremely painful blockage. Plants back then were also full of natural toxins, like cyanide in wild cassava or alkaloids in wild potatoes that could cause paralysis. Our ancestors didn't have a choice. They had to develop a high tolerance for these poisons or learn how to soak them for days to make them safe. Even the fruit was different, as ancient wild figs were mostly seeds and skin with very little of the sugar we have bred into modern fruit. We have spent the last 10,000 years breeding the danger and the bitterness out of our food, making everything bland and easy to chew. This has led to a physical change in our faces, as our jaws have actually shrunk because we no longer have to chew for 6 hours a day. Because our food is so soft, our teeth are crowded and our wisdom teeth don't fit, which is a problem no ancient human ever had to deal with. Their jaws were massive and powerful, built to grind down raw plant matter and crack through small bones without a second thought. But the biggest change isn't in our bones, it is in the trillions of tiny creatures living inside our intestines, known as the microbiome. Scientists have studied the guts of the Hadza people in Tanzania, who still live a traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyle today. Their gut bacteria are like a lush, wild jungle filled with thousands of different species that help them digest almost anything they find. In comparison, the modern Western gut is like a manicured lawn that has been sprayed with too many chemicals and only grows 2 types of grass. We use antibiotics, hand sanitizer, and chlorinated water to kill germs, but we have also killed the old friends our immune systems need. This hyper-sanitized lifestyle has created a massive problem called the hygiene hypothesis, where our bodies start attacking themselves. Because our immune systems don't have real parasites or bacteria to fight anymore, they get bored and start reacting to things like pollen or peanuts. Ancient humans didn't have gluten allergies or hay fever because their bodies were too busy fighting off actual threats to care about dust. The turning point for our species was the discovery of fire. which acted like a second external stomach that started digesting food for us. Cooking broke down those tough fibers and killed the bacteria, allowing our intestines to shrink and our brains to get even bigger. It was a brilliant trade-off that made us the smartest animals on Earth. But it also started our journey toward biological fragility. We became dependent on the flame, losing the ability to process raw, wild calories with the same efficiency as our ancestors. Then came agriculture, where we stopped eating thousands of different wild species and narrowed our diet down to just a few grains. We traded variety for security, and in the process, we lost the metabolic flexibility that allowed us to survive in any environment. Today, we live in a world where food is everywhere, but our bodies still think we're living in a cycle of feast and famine. When we eat 5,000 calories of processed sugar, our bodies don't know how to handle it, leading to things like diabetes and heart disease. An ancient human could gorge on a massive kill and then go 3 days without eating, and their blood sugar would stay perfectly stable. There is also a deep social layer to this, because being grossed out by food is actually a sign of modern wealth and privilege. For most of history, you couldn't afford to be a picky eater because if you didn't eat the liver or the lungs, you might not survive the winter. Now, we throw away millions of tons of perfectly good food every year just because it looks slightly bruised or has a strange shape. We have turned clean eating into a status symbol, but what we call clean is actually biologically unrecognizable to our ancestors. The word natural is used on boxes of crackers that were made in a lab, while real natural food like wild grubs or organ meat is seen as taboo. This pickiness is costing us dearly, both in terms of our personal health and the health of the planet we live on. Raising cows for muscle meat alone is incredibly wasteful, whereas eating the whole animal, nose to tail, is how we were meant to live. We are currently the most pampered descendants of the world's most versatile and rugged biological machines. We live in a world of soft textures and sterilized flavors, but our DNA is still screaming for the rugged diversity of the past. Some people are trying to fix this by reintroducing ancient habits, like eating fermented foods, or even trying insect protein powders. While we shouldn't go back to eating sun-rotted carcasses, there is a middle ground between total filth and total sterilization. Building resilience back into our guts might be the key to solving the modern epidemic of autoimmune diseases and food sensitivities. We need to realize that our ancestors weren't just lucky to survive, they were fundamentally tougher than we are willing to be. They didn't see the world as a scary place full of germs, but as a buffet of energy that required a strong stomach and a brave heart. Respecting the filth that got us here is the first step toward understanding what it actually means to be a healthy human being. Next time you see a bug or some slightly wilted greens, just remember that your great-grandfather would have considered that a luxury. If you want to see how these ancient diets actually changed our brains, check out this video on the screen right now.